Okay, so my name's Shanta Brandt Larson and I welcome you to the Motherhood Unplugged Summit 2.0. I'm just going to explain a little bit about the summit and then introduce our speaker. So the summit is basically based on 5 years worth of research, which is how adults are successful from childhood. Success actually being happiness, so the key determinants of that in childhood predominantly bring around the mother. What that led to was finding out around their care, their protection, their time. So the purpose of the summit is to reclaim health, happiness and time. So I want to introduce you to Michelle Gindi. She's the founder of Buddha Bowls and Burpees, which is a health and wellness source for mums. There are a couple of reasons, or three main reasons why she's at the summit. One is because A, she's a busy mum herself of two and a third one on the way soon. B, you take a very holistic approach to health. So it's not just about nutrition and Buddha bowls, but actually also about oils and meditation and even the products that you use to clean your house. So it's very holistic. And C, that comes across in a very authentic way because your interaction and your reach and your authenticity to your people has grown radically into 23k plus followers and growing. So that's an introduction to Michelle, and I'll just go ahead with the interview, Michelle, okay? So what do you love most about being a mum?
So one of my favorite things that I really never experienced before is really seeing things in the eyes of my kids. Yeah. I was always someone that was rushing down the street, like somewhere to go, something to do. I was studying, and then I had graduated law school. I passed the bar, I became a lawyer. None of that was, hey, stop and take a look at what's around us. Once I started to have kids, they slow you down immensely.
Yeah.
And they're always finding interesting, exciting things in the street, like something that's on a branch or a bug on the floor. And it was that kind of nature and beauty that I was missing in my life that my kids really brought back for me.
Okay, so different lens than making you stop.
Definitely. Like appreciating the world that we live in, really.
Yeah. So you have two and the third's on the way. When's the third due?
So coming first week of January.
Okay, so just after Christmas.
Exactly.
And how would you define yourself since being a mum?
So I would define myself as someone who really puts themselves first. And I think that sometimes you can see it on my Instagram. Wow, I'm making this like lavish lunch today, and my kids are home, but I'm still eating this good dinner. But the secret that I've found to wellness is I can only do well by my kids if I am implementing like some really good self-care. Okay. So once I realized that they're so tied together, I didn't feel selfish to, take 10 minutes out of maybe their day to cut myself a salad. And that's really all it takes. Most of my Instagrams are done in under 10 minutes, with my kids kind of putting their hands in the food and having fun with it. But it's more about, learning that I need to come first just so I can put them and their wellness in its rightful place.
And what challenges do you face? Because that sounds great, right? But what challenges do you face?
So there's a lot of challenges that come with being a health coach. Mm-hmm. A lot of times people's expectations are that my children are fully plant-based eaters that are meditating 24 hours a day, different egg, wine, There's a huge expectation on me and on my kids because they're very visible through Instagram stories, both for the better and for the worse. Okay. I do like to show a lot of balance. So maybe my daughter is having a lollipop at 9 o'clock in the morning. There probably is a reason for it, but maybe she almost broke her arm off a monkey bar, And I like to show people that there's no judgments. Okay. Everybody comes at the journey in their own place. So a lot of times my own challenge is explaining to people, yep, my kids aren't perfect. I certainly am not perfect myself. I love to bring wellness to everybody, and that means that we can't always judge what other people are eating or what they look like, or even sometimes their point of views on certain wellness ideas.
Yeah. So definitely authenticity still, even in the lollipops. Okay. And is there anything, what opportunities are you able to grab? So since becoming a mum?
Yeah, so I never saw this coming. It kind of just came at me, and I'm so grateful for it. I really do have so much gratitude to my kids for the opportunities that I've been given in my career, which never would have been possible. And I think that for a lot of moms out there, and maybe there's some mompreneurs out there, when you have this just glowing passion for what you do, the opportunities just come. And after I had become like a plant-based eater and was a little bit into wellness, my kids were still young, I did join the Institute for Integrative Nutrition, where I became certified as a health coach. And from the second I hung a shingle out, people were asking me, and that was even before Instagram, like anything. I had a very small account at the time, but people, I just started posting a little bit, and people started asking me, hey, can you help me? Can you come into my house? Can you talk to my kids? Can you teach my kids to cook? Can you teach my teenager to cook? Can you teach me to cook? And it became like this, wow, opportunity after opportunity, and the audience grew bigger. The Instagram account grew to the point of I felt like people wanted to hear even more of what I had to say. So the blog was open last year, and that was just getting amazing feedback. And everything I do is based on personal experience, client experience, and then feedback from my followers and people that are interested in this. So to anybody out there who is following me or may start, I say thank you, because that's where my opportunities really do come from.
Okay. And what tools and advice would you give mothers for this generation? What tools and advice would you give them that you find useful?
Yeah, so there's so many elements of wellness that I always want moms to kind of really take a few moments and think about what they want to work on. It can be very small. A lot of things take some time. You know, meal prep takes some time. A lot of things take very little time. Sometimes it's downloading a free app or putting your child in front of Cosmic Kids Yoga. I'm really into the yoga practice. It's a free YouTube that you can literally stick your kids in front of and have them do some breathing, have them do some relaxing. And there's so many, there's I want to tell everybody everything, basically. I want to tell them there's healthier swaps out there for your kids. There's non-toxic products that you can use. I'm very, very interested now in keeping my home free of toxins. When I found out that I was pregnant, the first thing I did was I started Googling, well, I'm using this. Is this bad for my pregnancy? And soon I found out that, there's a lot of scary things out there that we're bringing in our home. We're introducing to our kids, whether they're stepping on the floor or whether they're eating it. And that became something that I became very passionate about. And there is a section in my blog dedicated to non-toxic home building, and you can build your home in a non-toxic way, and it's very possible, it's very cost efficient, and it's not very time consuming, but there's so many areas that moms can go in. And I just tell moms, think about an area that you want to just get better at. It could be anything. It could be your own meditation practice. Our own meditation and our own wellness definitely makes a calmer, more collected kid.
Okay, so there's nutrition, there's cosmic yoga, I've picked that up, there's non-toxic in terms of your house that you have in your blog, but what you're saying is pick an area, don't do it all at one time, you've got one area. Okay.
Yeah, so when you see my blog, it's years and years of working on things, and plus my job and career is so tied up in wellness, I spend hours a day on this stuff. So if it seems like, oh, Michelle's at a place I can never be, it just may take you a little bit of time to get there. I've gotten clients there, and the more I work on it, the quicker I can get people there. I say, here's a link. It's my kids' favorite bedtime stories. here's my favorite sleepy kid pillow spray. You know, the blog really tries to set it out so you don't have to do all the research in the world, but just pick an area that your household may needs a little working on. Have fun with it. You know, it's, you know, my kids love to play with the essential oils in a safe way. I've taught them how to do it. They made their own pillow sprays that I put on Instagram last week, and you see them shaking the bottles. And you can teach kids how to be responsible and safe. And it's a fun thing to do.
Okay. So what's your focus now? So there's the blog, there's the Instagram following. It's very holistic, but what's the focus now?
So the focus has really become just out of kind of necessity, how pregnant moms, how moms learning to get pregnant, how moms working on that, how moms going through pregnancy can really work on their wellness. I feel like we're born to believe that pregnancy is like either the most amazing time of year or the amazing time of our life, or like the worst thing with every side effect known to mankind.
Okay.
And the misconception is that you can add wellness to it, no matter how bad your symptoms are, and there's symptoms ranging from really, you know, very kind of tough ones.
Okay.
There's wellness to be brought into that time. Just giving some gratitude of being able to have a child and being able to foster it and nurture it is something that I've been working on a lot. You know, a lot of times I feel the urge to complain, you know, oh, my stomach, oh, my back, and I'm working on it. And as I work through it, I feel like I can help other moms with experiences that I didn't previously have. With my other two daughters, wellness was the last thing on my mind.
Okay, so it's gone from not just wellness in toddlerhood or childhood, but there's more of a focus now for you on also wellness in pregnancy and also for babies.
Right. So really every stage of our lives can have wellness attached to it. I do coach children as young as 4. I coach teenagers, and I coach older adults and grandparents. And those clients also bring to me the experiences that I don't necessarily have this moment. And what I want to do is really showcase how wellness is just this thread that goes from when we're young all the way until we're old, and we can always seek it and find it and build on it.
So it's lifelong?
Yes.
Okay. Is there anything stopping you from where you want to go, or that you feel needs to change?
So when I heard you talking about just the summit in general, time management, I am just that person. I'm very overscheduled. I have about 100 things on a non-written down to-do list that's in my brain. I sometimes work late at night in manners that are not good for my own wellness. I recently did a piece for somebody, an interview on how sleep can help, you know, busy working moms. And as I'm doing the interview, I'm saying to myself, Michelle, you need to listen. You know this stuff. So I felt like the interview was talking to myself. So there are definite areas where I need working on. You know, my husband will tell you so. My kids will tell you so. Mom, you know, take a breather, relax. It's okay. So yeah, I do. I work through it as much as I coach through it.
It's this inner voice.
Exactly.
The second thing that came up in the research very much was not just the impact of the mother, but also that in terms of how children make sense of the world and different sense making. What experiences do you want your kids to have that help them to grow and make sense of the world?
So I want to, and it's my greatest goal, to give my children every experience that just speaks to them. And it doesn't necessarily speak to me. Standing on the street, staring at a cement truck doesn't speak to me. But I realize that there's enormity and wonderment in it. So I do try to, like I really tell you all the time, slow down, give my children that, you know, let them show me what experiences they need. In my household, we try to do one thing at a time. I am very, very guilty of multitasking. By multitasking, I mean 12 things at a time, not even 2 or 3. And it's teaching me, but I also wish to teach them the impact that just one thing at a time can do for you.
Okay.
So I make sure they sit down, eat dinner on glass plates. You know, it's like a real dinner around here. You may see on my Instagram sometimes how they eat. Because it's not, you know, homework and dinner and playing on the phone, and that it's like focusing, it's mindfulness, it's, you know, as much as I need to teach them, I need to teach myself. And I also really like to teach them the experience of being responsible.
Okay.
I feel like many times I'm guilty of maybe babying them. You know, my daughter will ask, can you feed me? And I want her to eat healthy. So I know if I'm feeding, I'm going to pick, you know, the salad maybe a little bit more than some of the other things. But I try to resist the urge. Come on, you can do this yourself. You can use your fork. You can use your knife. My kids bring in home lunch from school every day.
Mm-hmm.
It's packed in, you know, like these stainless steel bento boxes with the real silverware, a napkin that's folded the same way as a hotel or a restaurant. I want them to feel mature enough to use glass dishes, to pick out their own clothes depending on what the weather is. Experiences like that, I feel like, helps them feel empowered. And another thing that I also believe in is having them speak out and say what they need.
Okay.
So I would like them, you know, if they want from a waiter, you know, extra Parmesan cheese, for example, I will tell them, whatever you want, let's call the waiter over, please ask nicely and tell them what you want. And just teaching them how to interact socially with everybody across in the world is something that I'm a big believer in.
Okay, so there's independence and the interaction. Okay.
Yes.
They would love Switzerland. Here they walk to school by themselves at the age of 5, so they have to be very independent.
I don't walk myself here in New York.
This is an interesting one for you because you're pregnant. So the question that all of the speakers are answering is, what's the one thing that you would want pregnant you to know before becoming a mom? So I guess, what would you go back and say to yourself on the first pregnancy? Okay. You know, in the hindsight of not only the second but the third now, what would you go back and say to yourself?
I would say to myself the same thing I say to myself every day. You got this, you can do this, and you're doing the best you can. Okay. Even when you're not doing the best you can, you're doing the best you can. Yeah. It's one of the mantras that I have to say to myself. I wish my first pregnant self learned it. I wish my second pregnant self learned it. And now I'm working on my third pregnant self. And I think that, you know, we put so much pressure on ourselves to get things right, to get things done well. You know, like, I want my dinner to be perfect. I want my presentations and interviews to go just the way I want them. Yeah. But sometimes, and especially with pregnancy, you got to give yourself a little bit of leeway. You need to take a breather when you need to, and you're doing the best you can. Even if your food is like, you know, oh my God, if people saw this health coach eating this, they'd go crazy, you know, like when I made s'mores because I just needed to have it, and stuff like that. Just really, you know, into yourself.
What's s'mores?
S'mores.
What's
it's graham crackers. I took graham crackers and like 85% chocolate and vegan marshmallows, and you basically melt them down, and they're delicious.
I think if I introduce those to my taste buds, I might be eating them, but that's a new one.
You might not want to know, exactly.
Yeah, but I think, there's perfection is getting away from perfection. That's certainly coming up. Okay. And then finally, I know you're doing a new piece or new recipes. Is there anything you want to share with the people on the summit?
Oh, yeah. So I'd love to give a packet out to the people of the summit that will have some very kid-friendly, that we're back to school over here in the States. So some back-to-school kid-friendly recipes that you can send in. Also some information on very kid-friendly essential oil blends that if somebody is interested, like I said, I have a sleepy child pillow spray. I have triclosan and alcohol-free hand sanitizers. I have boo-boo fixers, things that kids need. My own kids are very into the oils because they feel empowered. I have my head is hurting, so they'll know what they need to do. You know, they'll tell me, Ma, I need the headache blend. Ma, I'll need something else. And that's what I like to do with the oils, and that's some of the blends. So I will.
So do they mix them themselves? Do they help you mix the oils?
So yeah, it looks like a little bit like a mad science lab in my office. We all, we wash our hands, we do what we need to do. Sometimes we need to wear gloves. And then we set up which bottles they need. One time my daughter made a fever reducer. We made an after sun spray, bug sprays, all these kind of very easy. It's very few ingredients. It's very inexpensive. Yeah. And for them, it's like a recipe.
But they're learning the properties of oil. So there's another sense-making piece that we missed out.
Yes, so they are learning. It's just plant-based medicine at its best, and it's learning to appreciate nature and how nature really is medicine.
Okay, wow. So that's a nice touch to end on, because we've gone from that back to sense making. So thank you very much for your time, and to the listeners for listening. One of the next talks is actually going to be on some more health, actually, but from a fitness point of view. So stay tuned and listen out for the next speaker.